We're live. Hooray. Alrighty. Wait till a couple of you guys get in here and then we'll get started with things. Oh, goodness. Raise that vibration. Hello, hello. Alrighty, guys, as we usually do, we're going to go over the announcements real quick, and then I'll get into the topic for the night. If you didn't see it, we are continuing to raise funds for the Phoenix Tree. It is a charity. It is based out of Winchester, Kentucky, and is hosted by, hello, Linda, and is hosted by New Leaf Recovery and Awareness. And the Phoenix Tree is designed to help families who are touched by addiction, whether that is someone who is in recovery or someone who has lost a loved one due to it, multiple reasons. Hello, Miss Carol. How are you? But yeah, the Phoenix Tree is something that we're actually doing our best to help Mr. Boggle with. All the proceeds that go to the Phoenix Tree are going towards fulfilling not just holiday wish lists, but also to help these people get basic amenities. Things like dishwashing liquid, laundry detergent. What's up, Raymond? You know, it's a very important thing. And a lot of the holiday wish lists are filled with basic amenity things, toiletries, household products, things of that nature. If you are interested in giving a donation to the Phoenix Tree, please do. The actual charity GoFundMe is up on the page. It's the pinned post at the top of the page. And the goal is to hit $3,000, not from us, but, you know, from everybody. The goal is to reach about $3,000 and to help as many people as possible. As my dog decides now is the time to want to play because, you know, Dad's at work. That's kind of what we're dealing with, at least as far as that. The charity is going to be open, and you will be able to donate until December 20th. After that time, I'm assuming that the charity will still accept donations, but the main charity event will be over the 20th of December. Thank you. Like a child, man. Dad's not looking. I'm going to get into shit. That being said, we are also doing a holiday gift sale at the shop. So, you know, like 20% off of decks, and, you know, there's a bunch of markdowns on a lot of stuff. You can go to spiritmechanics.com, and everything should be bundled that is on clearance or is in the middle of this sale. So feel free to give that a look and check it out. We would greatly appreciate it. We are going to be, in some capacity, we are going to be at the local event, the Mystical Market, here in Lexington, Kentucky. And what's up, Renee? And that's going to be the 10th and 11th of December. So if you would like to get a holiday reading, if you would like to come and get some gifts, if you would like to come and do the thing, come on by. There's plenty to see and do. You can always stop by, get a handshake, get a high five, get your free hug. All of them are 100% unconditional. And most definitely, as I said, you know, as I mentioned, they're free. We'll be there doing as we do, both giving readings as well as energetic healings, attachment removals, doing paranormal consultations. So if you're interested, stop by the booth, see what we're about. Curse you, Red Baron. But I believe that's it. If you haven't noticed, things have been really lax, and that's usually because December is our recharge month. It's full of family stuff, full of traveling, the whole bit. And because of that, we usually take a large part of December off. So if posts are a little bit slim, that's the reason why. If, you notice Brian isn't here at the moment, he's taking the month off. At least to my knowledge, he's taking the month off. There's just a lot going on there. So, if we're slow to get to you, if you message, if we're slow to get to you, Raymond says he knows what he can help with now. But if we're slow to get to you as far as messages, things of that nature, that's the reason why. It does not mean that we're ignoring you. It does not mean that we will not get to you. It just means that right now we're basically manning the team as a skeleton crew so that everybody can go and do the thing and take their break. Alrighty. Let's see here. Make sure that I get everybody. It would be great if you would cooperate. Hey, Robin Dixon. Hello, hello. Making sure. What's up? What's up? Renee, what's up? What's going on? What's up, Mr. John? How are you, sir? Doing good. Alrighty. So, we're asked constantly, what the difference between Reiki, magic, and alchemy would be. And the interesting thing, and if I didn't expand on this, this would be a very short live stream, but truthfully, there's no difference. That's the big secret, is that there is no difference. What it comes down to, truthfully, is methodology. Hello, Shelley. And that's the big thing, the process behind it. The mindset and the intention are literally the exact same, regardless of which of the three you're using. And intuition is what guides in all three. So, what is the main difference? Well, let's look at them, right? So, the first one is Reiki. Reiki's the easiest one to talk about because everybody knows what the hell Reiki is. Because, we're all either attuned in Reiki or have performed enough to get a mastery in Reiki. Reiki is the process of connecting to a universal energy and using that to balance things out. Now, notice what I said there. It's used to balance things out. Reiki practitioners can do everything from alleviate pain to emotional trauma to spiritual blockage, depending on where their head is and what they're geared towards. Now, here's the particular thing. Reiki practitioners usually come down to needing to have a physical push. I'll say that again. They need to have a physical push. What this means is it either requires physical contact or excuse me, I will English in a minute. Or it requires physical movement. It's something that requires specific hand movements, specific positioning. It requires specific ways of promoting that physical energy. It is 110% a physical type of work. If you guys have ever heard any of my forecasts, which we have one tomorrow, but if you guys have caught any of the forecasts and you hear me talk about the physical works, it's what I'm talking about. Things like Reiki. Now, is Reiki effective? Absolutely. Science is actually proving that Reiki is not necessarily a substitute for, but is a viable treatment for a number of different things. Everything from mental health issues to things like cancers, tumors. And it's a very interesting way that it works. Now, everything in metaphysics, and I'm gonna get to the point. Everything in metaphysics boils down to intuition, empathy, and intention, regardless of what it is. Literally, regardless of what it is. However, these three that I'm talking about go in a different order. It's which one comes first. That's what makes the difference. With Reiki, empathy is what comes first. It is very personal. Reiki is very intimate. It takes both the practitioner and the receiver being completely open to what is happening before it takes any kind of effect. Which means you have to have a connection that's a little bit more than, hi, my name is. Cool, your name is. Let's get started. Because as a Reiki practitioner draws in that specific energy, they have to know why they're doing it. They have to understand the nature of the issue itself, both on a physical and emotional wavelength. This is the reason why, truthfully, a lot of people say that they get exhausted. And the reason why I tell everybody that you shouldn't be getting exhausted after you perform Reiki. Proper connection allows for smooth sailing. If the other person is closed off, you're basically throwing a tennis ball against a brick wall and hoping that it doesn't bounce back and hit you in the face. So if you have to force energy, you have to pigeonhole it into doing what it is that is necessary, you're going to be exhausted because it's an uphill battle the entire time. Now, the other person, the receiver, one of the typical side effects of Reiki is actually exhaustion. You know, you get unusually tired, especially if you haven't had any kind of energy work done in a long time or at all. Now, this comes down to science. You are literally, now, the energy comes where the energy comes from, but at the end of the day, you are emitting electromagnetic frequency. Your body is pushing that energy through. At that particular point, you are affecting someone else's electromagnetism. You are shifting their vibration in a very literal sense. So, if the body is not accustomed to that, things start to go, there's something wrong. And the easiest way for your body to recover from something that it is not used to or it seems as foreign is to sleep. That's the reason why a lot of people get very tired. Now, am I saying that there's no such thing as a higher consciousness? Absolutely not. Am I saying that this energy doesn't come from something else? Absolutely not. It all comes from the same place. However, science is helping us prove that it exists. So that's the understanding of Reiki, right? It's a very, once again, for those who are just popping in or may have missed it, it's a very intimate process of a very physical nature. Sleep, what is that? Yeah, it's that elusive creature that hides in the bushes and makes fun of us. But it's a very intricate kind of thing. One of the people that I used to train with actually equated Reiki, at least proper Reiki practice, to a dance. It was a dance. It was a back and forth. And if you actually watch a legitimate Reiki practitioner do their thing, it is actually a beautiful thing. Especially when they're going through the physical motion. The specific hand sigils, the specific motions, the specific movements, even to the point of the breath that they take in. It is a very serious situation. Hey, hello, Shauna. How are you? Shanna Banana. So sorry. You made the mistake. Now you're stuck with it. Love you, chick. Hope y'all are doing good. But, hello, Robin. But it's a very serious kind of thing, even if it is a lighthearted tone. There is an emotion that sweeps over. It's really cool, actually. So now we're going to move on to magic. Thought I was going into alchemy. Well, that one's last for a reason. So now we're going into what people refer to as magic. Now, with magic, it is literally pumpkin raid. Magic is literally the same thing as Reiki to a more expanded extent. Intuition, empathy, and intention are still right there. They are still all three met. Once again, we're looking at which one comes first. With Reiki, it's empathy. With magic, it's intention. Intention comes first with magic. And I'll explain why. Instead of going through the physical motions and being directly intimate, we're making contact. We are specifically moving in ways that we typically wouldn't for the sake of somebody else. Instead of that, the intention to help someone else or the intention to provide a situation is what comes first with magic. We have to have the intention, I will cast this spell. With Reiki, it's involuntary. When you're in the moment. With a spell, you have to maintain concentration while you are in the process of building it, which is another part of, magic. Magic is the process of setting an intention and releasing it to the universe. So, just like with Reiki, and notice how this works, just like with Reiki, instead of being physical with somebody else, so laying of hands, going through specific motions in that regard, you are placing things in a cauldron, you are lighting incenses and smudges, you are aligning certain properties through crystals or through wands, or you are, creating a situation. The intention is what drives. These things will provide that. Well, you're just an asshole, Raymond. But that's pretty much what's going on. We set the space. We set the intention. As we do, we cast the circle. Every magic has that going on. You cast the circle. Within this space, it will not be harmed. It will not be changed. It will not be influenced. After doing that, you draw in the energy. We're still setting the intention first. I am drawing the energy for this purpose. I am casting not just the circle, but I am calling the towers. I am beseeching the elements. I am asking my patron. After that, then the medium is set. Whether it's cauldron, whether it's altar, whether it's, something like a pit or a stone slab in the middle of a field, you are setting everything based off an intention. Then, once everything is set, you claim your intention and speak it to the universe. And as you do, you light your incense, you are doing what it is that you need to do, whether it's rotating energy with wands or staves, or you go into song or a calling. To your specific deity or patron. And then once it's done, it's done. The spell has been cast. It's over with. The intention is released, and it'll go and do as it does. But notice that particular difference between Reiki and magic. That fact that, empathy guides Reiki specifically. That is the first and frontward. Then the intention, then the intuition. Empathy links. Intention says, I'm going to help. Intuition tells you how. With magic, intention is what leads. Intuition is what guides. And empathy is what comes after. This doesn't mean that the person casting the spell has no emotional content or context, proper wording. They don't have the emotional context. It just means that while they are in process, it is about the process. Empathy comes afterward. That's the reason why once spells are over, a lot of people, I'm grateful. So mote it be, I am grateful. Thank you, God or Goddess, for the opportunity, for the energy, for the movement, whatever it is that you subscribe to. So, lastly, we're looking at alchemy. And alchemy is an interesting practice. An energy alchemist is a person who combines spiritualism and science. Bells? Context. I need to understand why the question of bells. But alchemy combines science, physics, understanding of how the world works, with spiritualism and metaphysics. An alchemist bridges the gap between the two. An alchemist also works in a very interesting way. It's a combination of what people would consider casting, as well as, you heard them. That's neat. Over the live stream? Because that's neater. But it's a combination of casting as well as physical working. So we're combining the two specifically. This is what causes a transmutation. An alchemist has the ability to take a situation, an energy, or, to a certain degree, a substance, and change it into something else. Now, does this mean that lead into gold and all that other bullshit? Hell no. You know, that is literally impossible without completely fucking up the molecular structure of what it is you're messing with. But we are talking about the substance of something, the real essence of what it is. Well, that's cool. That may be going on, and if it is, that's neat. So, say we have a lot of chaos in a particular situation. There's a lot of upheaval, there's a lot of emotional strain, there's a lot of crazy going on. You know, life is lifing in the worst possible friggin' way. What an alchemist can do is take the flow itself, the energy that is introduced by these situations, and convert it into an order-driven state. What that means, like a cat collar. I mean, I have a cat that's got a collar, but she hasn't been moving around. What's up, Jenny? So they can change it into an order-driven state. Does this mean that the whole situation turns positive? No. What it means is that it stalls out. There's a balance that's introduced from that. Likewise, if there's too much stagnation, if shit's bogged down in routine, if everything is starched collar and you know, staunch and stoic and, you know, an alchemist can take that particular flow of energy, convert it into a chaotic state, introduce spontaneity and impulsiveness, mischief, and take a completely bogged down situation and turn it into something hilarious. Alchemy also has the ability, you know, it has the particular ability to be able to convert attachments into actual energetic flow. Alchemy is the understanding that energy is energy and everything is created by said energy because it all comes from the same fucking place. Once you understand that and you can start to really get into the essence of what things really are made of, it's very easy to change what it is that they function as. So we have an attachment, one that's been there for a long time. It feeds off of specific things like negativity, depression, anger. So, an alchemist in the business of removing said attachment can apply something very different. They apply hope. The understanding that things will get better. And as soon as that is actually introduced, which interestingly enough is actually a balanced flow, hope is. Once that balanced flow is introduced to a severely chaotic attachment, it starts to make it shake. It starts to make it really grind itself against that energy, and friction makes it pop loose. At that point, you can remove it. And when you do, you can break it down. It's no longer a part of the person, but it doesn't need to exist as it is. So you break it down through transmutation and return it to the flow as pure energy. So we have Reiki, that is empathy first, magic, that is intention first, alchemy is intuition first. Alchemy is intuition first, intention second, empathy third. When you're using it as a, main, this is how it's going to go, we're going to do the transmute and be done with it. If you are using it in that fashion, that is how it works. Because in order to read the flow correctly, you have to have an open intuition. And in order to transmute things correctly, you have to be able to at least sense the way that its energy flows. Because think about it this way. If you are trying to remove a blockage from someone's chakra system using alchemy, and weird. That's neat, but weird. My picture, my monitor up here gave up the ghost, so I'll have to check your all's comments here in a little while, but I will be getting to them, I promise. But so you're working on a specific blockage in the chakra system, right? So typical chakra systems have this number. You have energy moving up from nature and coming out of the crown. And your flavor of divine, their energy coming from the crown down through the root. And it helixes in between the chakras as it moves down or up. So imagine if this particular blockage stops the flow of just one of those energetic movements. let's say it stops the flow of, the downward. So we're stopping the flow from the crown to the root. If you were to introduce a flow, a current of energy in a downward fashion, it would meet with severe resistance, because all it's doing is pooling more energy at that blockage. This can lead to all forms of negative situations. Reiki has its moments where you get exhausted, you feel drained. Magic has its moments where you can feel exhausted, where you feel drained. Alchemy, however, results in a different kind of quote-unquote punishment. Something that is referred to as recoil. Regardless of what the intention is, it's about like shooting a shotgun or a rifle incorrectly. You may have every intention of putting food on the table for your family or protecting your family with said rifle or shotgun. But if you shoulder it incorrectly, at best, you're going to bruise the shit out of your shoulder. And at worst, you're going to dislocate it. It's the same kind of situation with alchemy. If you pull the trigger and you're not able to sense the flow, you're not able to work intuitively and shoulder that particular weight correctly, it's going to hurt you and the person you're working on. If it's an emotional attachment or some form of emotional healing that you're attempting to do through alchemy, both of you will break if there's a recoil. If it's a spiritual attachment or some kind of, as I mentioned, chakra blockage, aura cleansing, whatever it is, if you're using alchemy to do so and there's a recoil, both of you are going to suffer chakra damage. Even physical healing alchemy. There has to be an understanding of what's actually going on within the person's body, your body, and both flows. Or one, the best case scenario is going to be that nothing happens at all. Or two, the worst case scenario, where both of you get physical pain. The person doesn't feel better. They don't really get much from the healing, and you wind up aching afterwards. There's a lot of differences between the three. We talked a lot about alchemy. Let's talk about magic. Magic has its own form of recoil, but for different reasons. There's a reason why Wiccans say, do as you will, but harm none. The idea is that what you give to someone else or give to a situation, you will receive in kind. There is a balance. Notice that word. There is a balance that has to be made. It has to be kept between you, the situation, and or the person. Because with magic, the generalized belief is that what you put out, you receive threefold. So let's say someone comes to you for, what is referred to as a justice spell. In other words, you are essentially a hired gun. You are beseeching your specific patron to intervene for this person and seek justice on their behalf, or intervene in their situation so that justice can be seen. Okay. You're doing it for a good cause, correct? Who's to say that that person that's asking you for that justice spell isn't full of shit? Or who's to say that their particular justice is in retaliation for something that they originally did? At that point, you are attacking somebody. You're not intervening, you're attacking somebody. Because if that person lied about the situation, that means the other person is unaware. So imagine what happens when said justice spell smacks their life and fucks it up. Think about that particular wave that comes back. Also with Reiki, because it's such an intimate situation, if you don't feel the person out, you push too hard. You don't push hard enough. There's no real reciprocation when it comes to that kind of thing. You are forcing a situation that does not need force at all. Same situation as with magic. Either nothing's going to happen at all, or both of you are going to wind up fucked. This is just a situation that needs to be thought about. Everybody wants to be the next Harry Potter. Everybody wants to be, the next great Reiki practitioner. Everybody wants to be, the next Rasmus. But at the end of it, if you don't know how these things work, and you don't take the time to see how they work with and through you, you are going to wind up being a danger to yourself more so than anybody else, but also to others. It's fun to fantasize or to daydream about having some kind of mystical power. However, there is an accountability that needs to be kept. To coin the Spider-Man phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. Taking these things for granted is like walking around with a loaded gun and your finger on the trigger. You go to brush your teeth with the wrong hand, you got the gun in your hand. You go to answer your phone, you got the gun in your hand. Do you oops and pull the trigger? Or do you set the motherfucker down? I wanted to talk about the differences, but I also wanted to tell people the seriousness involved with, any kind of practice like this. And it's not a don't do the thing. This isn't one of those kind of after school specials sort of situations. It's me trying to inform. that there are consequences. Alchemists, such as myself, such as Brian, alchemists have a particular law. It's called the law of equivalency. For those who are anime fans, it is not equivalent exchange. That's bullshit fantasy. The law of equivalency is making sure that the equation is balanced. This plus this equals this plus this equals final result. It's making sure that everything that you do has a checks and balances system. The idea is to bring about balance and change through that balance. Every practice should have that kind of mindset. Equivalency is balance. Balance brings acceptance. Acceptance brings inner and outer truth. If you want to start learning these things, do it. Like, seriously, do it. It's awesome. The things that you can learn that can actually aid you in your day-to-day life. Just understand, once again, it's a lot like learning how to fire a gun. Don't point it at anything you don't intend to affect. And when you pull the trigger, you better make sure that there's nothing in the way that could be collateral damage. Get collateral damage. There's the words. Let's see. Now you guys get to stare at my face so that I can read your stuff. What's up, Seneca? Start the car and try to drive. Yep. Your favorite is Constantine. Conditions must be met for it to work. Absolutely. That's why loopholes are a thing. Well, all right, hon. Sup? Oh, words. There we go. Put these back on before my eyes bug out of my fucking head. But that's the whole idea here. Everything in practice should be to bring about a whole. And I mean WHOLE, not the ass variety. Everything should be to bring about a wholeness, a oneness. That's the goal of it. If a situation is missing a part, these practices can provide a suitable one. It's the reason why certain Reiki practices have you feel for warm or cold spots. Use the energy positioning to remove them or to dissipate them. Same thing with magic. Spells are only cast when something is needed. It's a necessity. You are bringing a specific flavor of intervention into a situation to cause it to either be relieved or to occur correctly. Same thing with alchemy. Both of those things are the truth for alchemy. You are introducing an energetic shift that is causing a ripple. It's causing a change, a butterfly effect. You're causing balance. When the pond becomes tranquil again, everything is supposed to be at ease. I think a lot of times people get this whole thing in their head that having a practice means you're gaining the ability to control situations. And I don't like that word, control. Especially not for this. Anybody who uses their practice to control a situation is only asking for some serious fucked up shit in their life. Because regardless of what your practice is, there is no such thing as control. The only quote-unquote, control we have is over our actions and our reactions. Everything else is up to the divine and the natural law. This is the last thing, at least for this topic. And if you guys have any questions, if you have anything that you would like to discuss, we can do so here in just a second. But every single practice, faith, religion, sect, does not matter. Every one of them follows one specific rule, and that is free will is what reigns. When you start to use your gift, your practice, even your specific understanding of divine, whether, once again, that's a religion, a sect, a faith base, a spirituality, it doesn't matter. When you start to use that shit in order to further an agenda, to batter people, browbeat, or even directly cause an upheaval in someone else's life, you are subverting their ability to choose. And when you take that away, that's a big no-no. When you take somebody's ability to choose, your ability to choose becomes forfeit. There's a lot to be gained from researching and doing the work and building the skill set. There's a lot to be gained from it. There's a lot of personal growth that comes from it. There's a lot of ability to be able to aid other people who are struggling. There's a huge opportunity to make everything around you, the world itself, a better place, even if it's just helping one individual at a time. Just don't be a fuck off. Be in it for the right reasons. Do the thing without expectation. Be humble. It's not a difficult thing. All of these 3 practices that I've talked about and anything in between literally works the same fucking way. It's just the process that changes. Those of you who are my students, you're doing awesome. Because you're doing the damn thing. And you're doing it proper. Kudos to those who have taught themselves. Kudos to those who are in the midst of looking for a teacher or are researching. Y'all are bosses. Keep at it. Keep doing that damn thing. Keep doing it proper. Y'all in it to self-serve? Y'all in it to cause trouble? Y'all in it just to, have an outlet to be that person to every other person around you? Y'all need to find yourselves. Y'all need to find your flavor of divine. And then, y'all need to find a way to unscrew that particular bottle that you put your life in. Most people, and this will be the last thing, and the last thing, and I know I kind of bridged a little bit of a gap here, but we pretty much ended on what the 3 mean, how they work. But at this particular point, what I mean by that unscrew the bottle that you have your life in, a lot of people will actually lean towards things like metaphysics. Notice that I didn't say spirituality. I said metaphysics. And will compartmentalize themselves to a point where every single thing is a metaphysical issue. Well, it's this spirit, or it's this entity, or it's this curse, or it's, this flow, or it's this thing, or it's that. No, you are the common denominator here. People who bottle themselves like that, who box themselves in like that, always wind up being the most malicious motherfuckers. They gain just enough knowledge to be dangerous, and then proceed to be dangerous. If you're going to do the thing, whether it's Reiki, whether it's magic, whether it's alchemy, or shamanism, medicine work, druidism, essence work, take your fucking pick. If you're going to be doing any of those, understand how they work, how you work with them, and stay in your lane. This shit ain't hard. People make it harder than it should be. Like Brian says, it's as easy as breathing. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Just do the damn thing. Y'all got this. Do one last check of comments here, see what y'all got. The only way is proper, absolutely. Simple practice and submission, consequence of choices. Pond to ponder, absolutely.
Put it on the TV.
It lost it. A lot closer than you wanted to be. It's not what you said on that case, man.
And yes, loopholes are what I'm talking about. You leave a loophole in whatever you're doing so that, say if it's that justice work, this is only going to work if they actually deserve what's coming.
Okay. Because I was like, what?
I was trying to drive. Besides that, I've called that loopholes for years, and you know that.
Loopholes are a thing. It's like, yeah, they are. That's my misunderstanding. But gave y'all some food for thought. Y'all are very welcome, and I do appreciate you guys spending the time with me. If you guys have any questions, comments, otherwise, feel free to message the page. We are still doing the fundraiser for the Phoenix Tree. For those that don't know, it is to help people who are touched by addiction and families who are touched by it as well. It doesn't just go for fulfilling present lists. It actually helps with them getting household necessities, toiletries, things of that nature that they are doing without. So if you would like to donate to that, the link is the pinned post at the top of the page. We're also doing a big-ass sale on spiritmechanics.com. Go and check it out. Everything should be listed, so when you guys check out, you should get your discounts. And we will be at the Mystical Market, the 10th and 11th. Come check us out. Come check everybody else out. Come get your handshake, your high five, your free hug. And we'll be seeing you here soon. Until then, and as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember that those that have the power to change themselves have the power to change the world around themselves. Love you guys.